Hello there, Tom here from the Run Testers with another first run review. In this video we are going to be looking at the Puma MagMax 2. Let's have a look. The Puma MagMax 2 costs £170 or $180. It weighs 270 grams on 9.5 ounces for men in a size 8 and the drop is 8mm. The Puma MagMax 2 is designed to improve on its popular predecessor by being lighter, faster and more responsive, offering a comfortable ride with a good level of energy return. The main change is that the chunky stack of nitrogen-infused Nitrofoam has been tweaked slightly to offer an increase in bounce and cushioning. The upper is made from an engineered mesh that's designed to provide plenty of airflow as well as offer a nice lockdown fit, while underneath there's a Puma Grip outsole, the brand's durable and high traction rubber.
Quick word on fit then, and I ran in a UK 8.5, US 9.5 in this, which would be my regular Puma shoe size, and I would describe the fit up front in the forefoot, nice and roomy, particularly sort of across the top of the toes, decent wiggle room for the toes as well, and because of the kind of type of uppers you've got here, there's lots of flex. They do sort of hug around the kind of toe knuckles, but you can get movement, so it doesn't feel too restrictive, and it just feels sort of nicely held and nicely snug, and then the length of the toe box is good and that kind of room across the top is pretty good as well. So I'm pretty happy with how much space in this shoe in the forefoot. Midfoot lockdown was really nice, laced in really secure. Again, no problem with that. I don't tend to have too much problem with shoes lacing down across the midfoot because I've got kind of big high insteps, so all of that felt snug and secure. And then you've got these kind of really sort of ample padded heel collars that have held really nicely as well and cushioned, which, you know, that kind of plushness of the fit is one thing that really sort of stands out. It's a really sort of comfy shoe overall. It's got that kind of plush sort of saloon car feel to it. So yeah, I think from that first run, you know, I'd be happy running true to size in these.
So fit for me in the MagMax 2, I'm a size 8 in the UK, this is a size 8. Pretty much spot on for me. There's definitely a thumb's width for my big toe. There's plenty of space in the forefoot, and the midfoot's fairly, for a Puma shoe, it's fairly wide. I've got fairly average with feet and I've got a bit of extra space in both sides of this. So fairly comfortable from that perspective. Very much a comfortable cushioned shoe upper designed for lots of sort of padding and a little bit more of a relaxed fit. So found it very comfortable to wear. I'd definitely stay to my UK size 8 in this shoe. So I quite like the original Puma MagMax. I found it to be it's a sort of a funny shoe that fitted in between the realms of more performance-based shoes, things like the Superblast and Superblast 2, things like that, and the world of more cushioned, comfortable shoes, and it did that pretty well. It was definitely a shoe that I would comfortably use for longer runs. Not necessarily a shoe I'd really use for faster sessions if I was going to do speed work or anything like that. It was just a bit big for that, but definitely a shoe that worked really well if you're running at a consistent pace and you wanted cushioning and comfort, but you also wanted a nice roll through and a bit of responsiveness and energy return. The Puma MagMax 2 is from that first run that I've done, which was about 10k, a fairly comfortable pace, picking up the pace a bit on some of the kilometres to see how it felt. It's more of the same. The midsole has been tweaked a little bit. It's a bit lighter. For me, it's about 23 grams lighter, which is quite a big jump down from the previous shoe, which was a bit chunky. And as a result, it does ride a little bit differently. It does feel a little bit more attuned to a nice consistent pace. It's by no means a light shoe. It's not a shoe like the Mega Blast, which is very much performance focused super shoe. This is more a shoe that is probably best suited for someone like me for longer sessions where I want to go out and maintain a consistent pace, but I'm not going all out. I haven't done an interval session in this, but I don't think I'd want to. It's a very high shoe, and also I don't think it's perfectly made for doing shorter fast reps. I think it's very much designed for those sort of consistent pace runs, but having said that, it's pretty versatile. It's definitely a shoe that this foam that's in it makes it, it's quite responsive. It's fairly well balanced. It's not really soft like some shoes with this sort of stack height. And you do get a nice little bit of energy return as well. It's a really nice foam, this nitrogen infused foam, Nitrofoam. And yeah, you just get a nice balance of everything. The fact that there's loads of it in here doesn't make it really soft. You do get a sort of dense compression and kickback from it. So it's definitely a nice shoe if you want a level of performance from it as well. The run that I did was largely an easy-ish run for me. I was about 5-minute kilometers, which is generally what I run most of the time at. And it definitely felt like a nice easy pace for this. It definitely felt like it wanted to go faster. I'd probably say for me, I'd probably use this more at like 4:30 pace, which is my pace when I'm training longer distances like marathons. And I think it would work really well for that. It definitely feels quite natural on the feet. And it definitely feels like it rolls you forward nicely as well, and whereas some big shoes don't often do that. One thing I would say about it is it's because it's quite high, and there's the front section of this does have quite a wide base on it, and the back section does, but I did find it a little bit unstable. I did step on the side of the curb a couple of times, and I did feel my ankle going a little bit, presumably because of the height, but also it's quite rigid as well, so if you do go over a little bit, it's quite a lot of shoe going over. So there's a little bit of a stability thing here. It's not stability from the midsole because it's soft, it's just because the height of the shoe, and there's this little bit of this section here, the midfoot seems to be the area that really that I was noticing it the most on. But other than that, I think it's a really good shoe. I think it's comfortable. It does the job. I think if you're expecting a shoe that you can use for your daily training, especially if you're a longer distance runner, I think it would work really well. The outsole on it, it's got Puma grip, so there's a really thick layer of that rubber on the outsole there, which is really impressive. Really sticks out far from the midsole, so definitely good durability on that. It's quite a big exposed section here, which is not something you see quite a lot on Puma shoes, but they did have to shave the weight off somewhere, so that's presumably one of the ways that they did it. Yeah, good outsole apart from that midsole section, but I'd still probably use this to run out on public footpaths and things like that, because Puma grip is very, very good on it.
So then on to my first run impressions. I've just done 5 miles in about 40 something minutes. I was going to try and do a progression run, which is always a good first test for this, because you can sort of test the shoes across a range of paces. Truth is, in this, I don't know whether my legs are tired today or it's just the ride of the shoes, but I couldn't really get out of first gear in them. I did find everything felt a bit heavy and sluggish. Now, the main thing about that, I think, is just how soft the midsole is. It's a super soft, plush, cushioned shoe. Oodles of road protection coming up here. It's kind of got that kind of marshmallowy softness. Lots of sort of sinking in the footbed. The midsole sinks an awful lot as well, and so it can take a little bit of time for it to come back. There's loads of softness in the heels. That might cause some people a little bit of wobble, but overall the platform of the shoe is really quite wide. They've got a lot of the Hoka Clifton sort of vibes going on here, maybe in terms of that kind of the shape of the shoe, but I think they're sort of considerably softer than that. Yeah, I'm sort of coming off shoes like the New Balance 1080 V15, which has softness but still has a bit of energy to it, and I think these are sort of straying into the too soft for me. I'm not really a fan of shoes when you're running kind of nice easy recovery runs where you feel like you're having to dig a bit, and I do get a bit of that so far from this in the first run. I mean, I will want to test them when I kick up the gears a bit and see if they've got anything. It's softness rather than bouncing energy for me, so it immediately strikes me as the kind of shoe that, you know, with the last 30 miles of the 100-mile Berlin Wall Ultra, where my feet are battered and I just don't want to feel the ground anymore, this would be a shoe I would lace up, and I'd kind of sacrifice a bit of the energy and a bit of that kind of laboured feeling, you know, for that comfort. One thing I would say for such a big stacked shoe, they felt pretty light on there. I think the uppers feel kind of nice and light and airy, and the shoe doesn't feel too heavy. The sluggishness that I get from it is coming a bit more from that cushion. I'm sort of saying sluggishness, but if you really like things sort of super cushioned and you want that for your recovery run, this is going to do a great job, because you can't feel any of the road out there, and there's just lots and lots of really nice comfort. I just like my shoes to feel a little bit more effortless, sometimes I'll get that from having a bit more return from the shoe, or a bit more immediacy from the shoe, even on slower runs. So yeah, first impressions, I think it strikes me as a really sort of capable, highly cushioned shoe for recovery and easy. Jury's out about whether or not it can do more. We'll go and do some more testing, but that's my initial reaction. First impressions then, and I think if what you want is max cushioning with super softness in quite a lightweight shoe, you know, comparatively to some of the other shoes that you get with this kind of massive stack, then this shoe seems to deliver that. It's done it very well on those miles that I've done. I think if you like something that is a bit snappier, a bit sort of firmer, or comes back a bit quicker, then maybe these are going to be too cushioned for you, but I'd say the kind of comfort on the foot feels good. The fit of the uppers is really nice. Everything feels well held. It feels like a well put together shoe. And for those slow and easy miles, I have kind of generally enjoyed them, and I can clip along very slow with this pretty easily. But the jury is out about kind of whether it has the versatility to compete with some of the other shoes. And I think what we're seeing now are more shoes in this bracket, or crossing over into this bracket, that can do the nice sort of plush cushion, but also give you a bit of energy return and a bit more bounce, a bit more, upper pace potential in the same package. So I have a big question mark over versatility. But yeah, early miles, it's a serviceable shoe. I've said that a few times about a few shoes recently. It does, that super cushion stuff really well. Is it going to be my favourite? I don't know. We'll have to do more testing to see. But yeah, that was first run impressions in the Puma MagMax 2.
So my early verdict on the Puma MagMax 2, I really like it. I think this is a really interesting high max stack shoe. We're seeing a lot of brands produce big max shoes at the moment, and some of them are fairly general. They don't really offer loads. They're just maybe a little bit more comfortable. But this does offer something different. That foam works really well when you have a high stack of it, that Nitrofoam, because you get a bit more back from it. It doesn't get soggy. It doesn't just sort of get to, lose its magic. It actually feels like, to me, you get a bit more energy from the tweaking of that big, thick stack of foam. So I definitely think it's a shoe that, if I was marathon training at the moment, I'd probably be using this a lot more for longer sessions over the next few weeks. But I'm just probably going to be using this mainly for easiest runs at the moment, because that's what I'm doing most of. And as I say, it's very versatile as well. Up to a point, I could definitely go out and train in lots of different sessions in this shoe, and I would be very pleased with it. I'd also say that the price, £170, isn't cheap. But at the moment, most running shoes at this sort of level of quality are coming in at that price or more. You've got things like the Asics Gel Nimbus 28, which is more expensive than shoe. This is far superior to that shoe. There's a lot more than that shoe. It's a lot more versatile. I'd prefer the shoe for easier runs, just because it feels like it's doing something. So really, £170 may be expensive, but I think for this level of what you're getting from this shoe, I think that's not a bad price, and it could have been a lot more, because you look at a lot of the shoes that are coming out of like £200 at the moment. £170 is a pretty solid price for this shoe. So I think for certain people, I think for if you've got a rotation and you're mainly training for like marathons and things like that, I think this would be a good shoe to have in your rotation, in your as a sort of your training shoe, because you don't want to run a marathon in it. And maybe if you are more of a general runner and you really want a little bit of a more responsive midsole in your shoe, because a lot of the big stack shoes can be a little bit softer. So I think it's a good option so far, and I'm looking forward to doing some more running in the Puma MagMax 2. That's it from us on this first run. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that little bell. If you go to catch you below, you find it to our podcast, which comes out about once a month at the moment. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.